Welcome back to Kind Regards, the show. A lot of people wonder about meaning and purpose. In a world without God, is anything meaningful? In the timeline of infinity, isn't a fraction of infinity always zero? Any contribution that we make, what meaning does it have? Is my jujitsu a meaningful way to spend my time? These are big questions, and they take up a lot of space in not just our own lives, but in the annals of philosophy and spirituality. But I think there's a perspective here, or a clarifying sort of truth that lets us reject these questions a little bit, or perhaps dissolves them to some degree. So I'm going to start with some counterexamples to the questions of meaning and purpose. Let's imagine a dog laying in the sun. You're walking past a front yard and there's a dog in the sun with its eyes just barely open, just like so relaxed, serene. Perhaps it pricks its ear up as you walk past, and then its ear kind of goes back down and it relaxes again. Does this dog require any kind of like meaning or purpose in order to justify its existence? In order to justify its time spent there? Is its meaning and purpose defined by its relationship to you and the value that it's bringing to you as like this nice reflection? You see the dog relaxing and you go, that's nice. Does the dog gain something? Does the universe gain something for your recognition of the dog and that relationship of purpose and meaning? And I think there's another counterexample. Obviously you might say, well, dogs meaning, purpose. Come on, dude. What does grass have meaning? Ugh. But I think the same could be said for imagine a father and a son skipping rocks on a pond. You know, that's all. You walk past a pond and you see a dad teaching his son how to skip rocks. Do questions of meaning and purpose enter into our lives then? Do we say, oh, wow, here we go, another dad teaching another son how to skip rocks? How about you do something useful? Don't you know that there's all the starving monkeys in the Amazon and all the, algae in the ocean that provides the krill, the photoplankton? Don't you know that we could be protecting that? Don't you know that you could be doing something meaningful and purposeful? No one does this. This person doesn't exist, and if they do, they're we don't want to be them, right? The question of meaning and purpose is not applied uniformly across life, and nor should it be. The meaning and purpose are a distracted person's dream. They only occur when we are lost in thought, identified with thought, and they are projected post hoc after the fact onto our lives, onto the past, as some kind of way of justifying our actions and our what has been for us, right? There was no question of meaning and purpose when the solar system came into existence, right? And no one was there to be a part of Earth's creation in some kind of like meaning competition, building meaning. Oh, if we introduce, bacteria to Earth, then maybe we'll have a meaningful life form later. This didn't exist. The concept of meaning and purpose is is just in here. It's just an imaginary thing. We did a sketch of the world and we called a part of that sketch meaning, and then we're going, oh, the world has to fit with the meaning. If it's not, then it's meaningless. But it doesn't exist. It's just in here. And that's not to say that all ideas that are just in here are meaningless. But what it does mean is that it's not built into the fabric of reality. It is a thing that we created. And if it does serve us, then brilliant. But if it doesn't serve us, then there is no use for it, right? It is not an empirical fact about reality that we must conform our lives to, right? Um, yeah, if it was a fact about reality that we were here for a life of purpose and meaning, then we would probably be wise to spend our time in that way. You know, if you believe in a God that, you know, hands down these obligations to you, then yes, it probably would make sense for us to fulfill those obligations. Um, but if we believe that no one put us here, but that we are simply here, that we were simply thrown into existence, just as the moon came into existence. It's just, whew, there you go, and that there is no sort of meaning or purpose inherent in the moon. Then we get to relax a little bit and unclench and go, oh, okay, I'm just here, and what I do is kind of up to me. It's kind of up to my value filter and what I think is good to do. And the great freedom of this is that we no longer have to hold our happiness or time or attention hostage until we satisfy questions of, is it purposeful and is it meaningful, right? There's something, I mean, tyrannical about only, it's like the optimization mindset. I talk about this sometimes, you know, that everything has to be fully dialed into 100%, that we can have a perfect nighttime ritual and a perfect morning ritual and a perfect, you know, when I have a break from work, I do a yoga nidra and then I do a bunch of pull-ups and then I, jump in the cold water and then I'm reset. That's the perfect thing to do, the perfect diet, the perfect whatever. It releases us from the tyranny of, I have to have purpose and meaning sorted out. I need to know the purpose and meaning of everything I do before I can be happy doing it, before I can be, you know, enjoying the thing. I can never play cards with my wife unless I'm, you know, unless it serves me as adequately restorative for my, you know, my attention span so that my art can thrive. You know, art being the ultimate purpose, so everything has to serve the art. How about we're allowed to just play cards? How about we're allowed to exist without being, you know, dominated by questions of meaning and purpose? Further, I would argue that meaning and purpose, as I said earlier, are distracted. They only exist in distraction. When we're skiing down a ski slope and it's fresh powder, it's the first run of the day, no one's thinking about meaning and purpose. When we're watching a rock get skipped and it's going, and we go, oh, look at how many skips. No one's worried about meaning and purpose. No one's thinking, oh, is this meaningless? Of course we're not. We're engaged with the world. We're actually in communion with the world. We're not just up in our heads, lost in thought, holding our happiness hostage until certain thoughts get all in a row. Does this make sense? And similarly, all peak experiences are not in our heads. They are undistracted, or at the very least, they may be in our heads. Like there are beautiful mental abstractions that we can engage with, and we can have like epiphanies and things like that. So they can be in our heads, but they're certainly not identified with thought. They're certainly not a runaway train of distracting thought that we have no control over. It's about engagement, right? And when we are engaged, we are not worried about whether or not our meaning and purpose is fulfilled. We're just doing the thing, right? And in my own life, this is really clear. I've been on about a week stretch of like, oh, meaning and purpose, and oh, what's the point? Why am I doing anything? I'm just going through the motions. Every day is the same old crud. And I realized that this only happens to me when I'm sitting still in a chair. When I'm doing the dishes, I'm not thinking about whether this is meaningful and purposeful. When I'm making the art, when I'm making a contribution, I'm not worried about meaning and purpose. When I'm on the phone to a friend, I'm not either. When I'm going for a walk, taking a swim, when I'm going to work, when I'm engaged in my life, these questions dissolve. They cease to have any kind of pull on me. They don't even come up and then disappear. They just don't come up. And I think one of the keys about this sort of piece of advice, that the key kind of points, is that it liberates us by reminding us that when we're thinking about meaning and purpose, we're already stuck in the mud. It's not like we have a question and there might be a problem if we don't adequately answer it. We've already got a problem. We're already identified with thought. We're already disengaged from the world. We're already 2 steps behind reality, in our head, barely even conscious of what's going on out there. We're lost in thought. We're automatically doing whatever we're doing while we're totally captured by the flow of concepts and ideas. And that this is no way to live. This is an unfree way to live, where we're lost in thought. I mean, if you don't know how bad being lost in thought is, then please watch any of my other videos. They're basically all about this, and the relationship between attention and mindfulness and being lost in thought. But when the question comes up, when we're ruminating on this thing, we've already got the problem. The problem is being stuck in the mud, being lost in thought. And the beauty of this is that we can break the spell like that. As soon as we go, oh, I'm lost in thought right now, boom, we're back to present moment awareness. We are back. And all we need to do is continually do that, continually flex that muscle. Flexing the muscle is a poor example though, because it, the reps, but returning to the present moment is effortless. It just happens. We just wake up. It's like waking up. There we are. We're back. And once we're engaged with the world and we choose to do something, and be in communion with the world again, instead of being lost in thought in our set of ideas that holds our happiness hostage. Oh, if the videos aren't meaningful, then why am I even doing them? Instead, we are free, and we're free to do the dishes, call a friend, give time and energy to the world, do something for others, whatever the thing is, make the art, go for the run, blah, blah, blah. Do the thing that is good to do without this pressure of, unless it's meaningful, it can't be justified. We can play cards, we can take it easy. We can recognize that the universe is not demanding anything from us. The questions of meaning and purpose are inventions that we have put on the world. And if they're putting so much pressure on us that we can't do anything, then we can just drop them, But if they're useful to us and we go, you know what, maybe it would be good to wonder how much, am I playing too much Call of Duty? What's the point in that? Where's the meaning in that? Well, yeah, then you can use those ideas and use that filter. But, that mindfulness gives us the freedom to engage with the ideas in a way that serves us rather than holding our happiness hostage, as I said. But yeah, thanks very much for watching. I hope that this has been useful. It's great to have you here on Kind Regards, the show. We've got Kind Regards, the Substack too, where I write articles that are similarly sort of themed, philosophically oriented, and I have lots of quotes from, literature and spirituality and philosophy and psychology in order to sort of make a really beautiful, polished piece that I try and make it funny and entertaining and everything like that. So there's 2 new ones out. One is about anger and how we can sort of transmute anger into something more valuable to us. And the other one is about simplicity. The other one's about simplicity and a guy called Thomas Merton, who was a Trappist monk in Kentucky. It's about, simplifying our lives and how that can help us get where we're going. And increase our peace of mind. So those are the 2 recent articles. I've also got a Spotify and a YouTube link so you can watch or listen to this content as you like. Thanks very much for being here. I'd love to get your feedback and like and subscribe and all that stuff. But really grateful for your time and attention. That's really sweet of you to be here, and hopefully you got something out of it. See you later. Thanks.